We started?
Are we? Okay.
Oh, okay. All right, here we go. Hey everyone, before we begin this next episode of the Hello Mentor podcast, I just want to say if you're job searching or hiring, check out hiredly.com. We are not just another job platform. We make it easier to find the jobs that people actually want, and we help companies stand out to hire the right talent. So there's a lot of smart tech and there's a lot of human touch. That's Hiredly. So you can head to hiredly.com and give it a go. Hey everyone, it's another episode of the Hello Mentor podcast. We have a very unique one today where I, Derek, am in the guest seat. Just so that, because obviously we realized that as I had the opportunity to interview so many guests, I don't think we've ever shared too much about Hiredly's own story. But just to make sure that I'm not talking to myself, we have Joanne here with us. So she's going to interview me. Joanne's our COO. And this will be fun.
Yes, it will be.
Yes. All right. So over to you, Joanne.
Okay, great. So I guess a lot of people don't really know, don't really get to see a lot about a leader's perspective. So I thought it'd be good to ask you some very leadership type emotional
questions. I'm full of it. I'm full
Great.
of yes.
My first question is what is the hidden mental cost to being the founder and final decision maker?
The hidden mental cost of being a founder and final decision maker.
Of Hiredly, yes.
Yeah. I think one misunderstanding a lot of people make is they think being the boss is really fun because other people do your work for you. That's partially true. But what they also don't realize is usually all the biggest problems go to you. So most of the time, if something can be solved at the management level, it would get solved. It doesn't really involve me. But if something is so complex or so high stakes or high risk, it will always definitely have me involved. So in some sense, the worst problems you have to deal with. I think that's one of the biggest mental costs of being a founder. So even though sometimes it looks like I'm sitting there doing nothing, I'm not doing nothing. I am thinking about how to solve some of the worst problems the company is actually facing. So actually it's not a fun job at all. Like it's actually quite stressful. Even though there are lots of basic stuff that people think that are basic that a lot of people are actually doing, but you actually have to solve the tough stuff, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I agree. Likewise, I know I answer some of your tough stuff, but
Oh, sure. Okay. All right.
you mentioned about talking about very serious decisions that you've had to make. So can you tell me a moment where the business was in serious trouble and but you had to stay calm, obviously, so that your team doesn't panic? So what did that pressure feel like for you personally?
One of our core values in Hiredly is radical candor. But in simple words, it means like we always speak transparently about what's going on. And in our many early years, actually, it's like in Hiredly, I tell this to people all the time. Almost in every year, something threatens to shut the company down. Like always facing some kind of crisis every year. And in the early years, I would always tell the team in a lot of detail about the crisis that we're facing. Let's say, you know what? We have like a few months of funds left to pay salary and then we're going to run out of money soon. And I've always done this with the belief that transparency is important. But what I found very interesting was people don't necessarily
Panic.
As in, no, they actually do not respond so well.
All right.
Yeah. I initially, for me, it was kind of like, if I tell the team that the company is in crisis, we need to step our game up. I imagine the world where everyone would just step up their game.
Right.
But in reality, what happens is within the company, there will be a group that will step up their game, but there'll be another group that panics. And unfortunately, and human nature, negativity spreads faster than positivity. So even those people that wanted to step up to it will suddenly find themselves influenced And then the whole company is in some kind of crisis or panic mode. And the reason I share this is now I share these troubles more selectively, I suppose. I would sometimes tell everyone like roughly, okay, we need to work harder, etc. But I don't go into great detail, just not to cause a panic. And so at the end of the day, I sort of have to learn to carry it myself in some sense, because even though I believe the team is very mature, you just never know what the reaction is like, and it's actually better to just like, just get it done without like sharing too much detail. Don't affect people's motivation level.
But what did you do back then when you did share this and people didn't take it well?
Oh, as an example, I still remember this might have been like 6 years ago. Some of them called it like the town hall from hell or something. So basically it was like, I think it was after Chinese New Year, we were running low on cash, and I decided to tell the whole company. At the time, I think we were about close to 100 people, like 80 or 100 people. And I called for a town hall, and I showed everyone our cash balance, how much money we have left, how long it takes to run out of money. And everyone walked out of that room stunned. When I say everyone, I say like a lot of people are stunned. I actually, when I shared that, this must have been the 4th or 5th time I've done this already. I for some reason, I'm so naive. I still think that people walk out of the room feeling like, oh, I need to get going. But no, everyone was shocked. And then you can see a lot of people start gossiping or like chit-chatting, and there's a lot of negativity going around. And some people will feel like, look, I need to start looking for a job. Again, for this part, I think it's very understandable. Like, let's say, if you're someone that you bring food, you bring food home, shelter for your family, and the company is in crisis, you are worried the company will close down, you lose your job. Okay, I understand. You need to. This is too big of a risk for yourself, right? So you need to protect, and you need to look for a job. And this is part of the reason why we also shared, because I was also being very honest to them to say, hey, look, everyone's in a different financial situation. If you cannot take this risk with me or the company, then it's okay to go look for something else. But I'm just telling you transparently what's going on. But what doesn't help is when the negativity spreads.
Right.
And that it doesn't, I would imagine people, those that want to stay to work hard and those that want to leave to just quietly say, I'm going to look for a job. But no, it doesn't work this way. Yeah. So that's what I did. I think I shared in town halls, and then after that, as we take steps to kind of repair the company, everything is greeted in a very not so receptive way. It actually made it harder actually to, in a strange way, if we wanted everyone to behave in a way that let's say they work harder, they're more dedicated in a time of crisis, this had the opposite effect.
Right. I guess it's quite unfortunate, right, for you as a leader, because you have to think about how everyone else reacts to such a crisis and a serious situation. But how do you personally deal with your own, emotionally? Like, how do you deal with like such failures or crisis?
Or when things go wrong?
Yeah, when things go wrong.
I want to share a quick personal story. So when I was I think 17 or 18 years old. At what age do we get our car driving license? Or maybe you don't know. Do you know?
17.
17? Or okay, 17 years old. So I got my driving license. My grandfather had an extra, like an old car that he didn't really use. So my dad bought it back. And it was like this old Nissan Sunny. Nothing very nice. All my friends had really nice cars. I still remember. By nice, I mean like, I'm not talking Porsche here. I mean like they have like, like a normal, like Toyota, but mine was a very old Nissan Sun. And I remember I wanted my parents to get me a new car. So I was driving my mom and my brother, actually. And then I asked my mom, I told her I want a new car, and she said, we can't afford it. And I was throwing a tantrum. I actually drove really fast with my mom and my brother in the car. They were both sitting on the left side. I still remember this very well. As I was driving really fast, the car in front of me suddenly, like they brake, right? They slowed down. And in panic, because I knew I wasn't going to brake in time, I had to swerve to the left to avoid the car. and actually he hit my car. But unfortunately, the car that hit was a like a kanchil, a small kanchil, and it wasn't a very bad accident, but we definitely damaged the car. And I actually hit it on the left, which is where my mom and my brother was. And when it crossed my mind, by the way, it's like, lucky it's a small car, but I hit a truck or something, then that would have been a terrible accident that would have, hurt my mom and my brother. And then when I went home, I expected my dad to be super upset and mad at me. Like, I was so scared, I was so silent, I was super pale, I didn't see anything. My mom explained to my dad what happened just now, why the car is damaged and stuff. And my dad just went quiet. And he just looked at me and he said, maybe it's a blessing in disguise.
Well, so not Asian parenting of him.
No, it's not. I was actually surprised at his reaction because I thought he had every right to be so upset. Not only did I, put my mom and my brother in danger, it was over such a silly thing of me wanting a new car, throwing a tantrum, But when he said that maybe it's a blessing in disguise, this was the first time I understood the concept of sometimes bad things can be good things. So if I reflected on that moment, actually since I told this story before, internally in the company, but since I've never been a car person, I don't, I just don't care about cars anymore. I just see it as a way of transportation. I don't need to have a nice car. And, I also drive a lot safer now. Like, if you ever been in my car, like I drive like a,
right,
like
a dad.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like a dad with a lot of time, like I'm super chill, but this bad thing created a lot of good behaviors in me after a good traits. And this is my philosophy even running the company. So sometimes when something bad happens, I always try to tell myself, maybe it's a blessing in disguise. Maybe something good will come out of this bad thing that's happened.
Right. There's a term for this in Chinese. We call it like lok dei hoi fa. Like, so if something breaks, flowers grow, something along those lines. So I think it really means, when something bad happens, it's to make way for something good. Something along those lines.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I'm surprised you use Chinese to be okay.
I know. I always have this in this quote in my mind because it's something that my mom used to tell me.
Was it lok dei hoi
Lok
fa?
dei hoi fa. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it correctly.
Okay.
But yeah.
Right.
It's like something my mom used to tell me when I was younger. Because I think the easiest thing you do is like you spiral right when something bad happens. So it's a way of looking like, maybe something bad happened for a reason. Yeah.
Right. Something bad happened for a reason. Yeah. So I think and life is full of ups and downs anyway. So I feel like a big part of being able to have a successful life or a good life is not so much that it's keep going up, it's how you handle the down. How you handle it when things go down. And things will definitely go down at some point. And how you respond is very important.
Right. But as a founder, do you ever feel like you're lonely? Because you can't fully share your fears with people around you. I know just now you mentioned, like when you announced it to the team, you're hoping that people step up and be there for you and the company. So do you ever feel lonely, like, when you can't share any of these, like, very intimate, like, emotional experiences with the people around you?
Do I feel lonely? By and large, I don't feel lonely, but there's this one dream that was super memorable to me. For some reason, so weird. I remember this dream so vividly, especially when I woke up. I felt a bit sad, but after that, I was okay. And the dream was, in this dream, I was in Malaysia. It's a Friday night. I'm walking around alone. For some reason, I have a long jacket on, like how I was when I was in London, because I used to live in London. But it's Friday night, I'm in Malaysia. And Friday nights, people are hanging out and stuff like that. I remember walking along this place with a lot of restaurants and bars, and I walk past the table and I see a lot of people laughing and they're with a group of friends and all that. I looked at them, I was like, those are my entrepreneur friends. Like those are my other entrepreneurs, friends. And they're laughing and they're really close. And I looked and I realized I'm not that close. I'm not that close with them. So I'm not going to say hi or join them. So I just kept walking. And as I kept walking, then I saw in another restaurant, another table, and those are the people that were working in Hyattly at the time. I saw them. And again, they were also gathered together. They're laughing, they're chatting, they're having such good fun, bonding. And I saw them for a moment, and for a split second in this dream, right? For a split second, it's so sad when in the dream. So for a split second, I was thinking, I hope they notice me. And then they will ask me to come and join them.
Right.
And then they didn't. And then I remembered, I walked back to the table where all the other entrepreneurs were. And I thought, maybe I'll go say hi. So I walked back. In my dream, I walk back. And they were still having a lot of fun. And for some reason, I just didn't stop. I just kept walking. And then I just walked home. And then I woke up. So that was a dream. But I don't know. I think it makes me feel like, yes, I feel alone, but there was also, I see people having fun and all that, but I feel at peace.
Oh,
yeah,
that's interesting. Yeah. Why peace? Like why specifically peace?
It's kind of like why didn't I could walk up to the table and I'm very sure they would welcome me. But there was a part of me that actually didn't want to. Like I feel like, I feel like I'm missing out that you're all having fun, but there's part of me that I just want to go home.
Right.
Right. And in that dream, as I was walking home, as I didn't stop, it's mixed up. It's like I felt a little bit lonely, but also very much at peace because I chose it.
Right.
Does that make sense? I could have stopped there. They were welcoming, but I chose it, and I went.
Right. And I guess in real life, not in your dream, if you tried to reach out to any of these entrepreneur friends, I'm sure they'll be there to help you, right? It's just that.
Yes, I'm actually very lucky though. I mean, sidetrack a little bit. When the company first started, I tell this to people all the time. They say, how do you get people to help you? I say, well, I just call them. And for some reason, people just want to help me. Yeah. So I feel very fortunate in this sense, but I don't call people that much. I guess that's the thing.
It's just your introverted nature. Is it?
Maybe. Maybe. So, I can't quite piece it together, but yeah,
So the answer is you're not lonely.
The answer is, yeah, I'm maybe alone but not lonely.
Okay. Yeah. Fair.
Yeah, alone but not lonely.
Right. Okay. Okay. I mean, I know you mentioned very briefly in your dream you were wearing a long coat and you're talking about the UK, right? So obviously I know you were working in the UK for a bit and you left your obviously very stable corporate career and you started your own company at 33, right? I mean, can you take me through that entire process? Like what made you leave your stable corporate career? Oh, right.
I mean, on one hand, obviously the idea of Hyattly was so interesting. I wanted to do it, but there was also like a reason why I wanted to leave corporate. So I did start my career in accounting, UK, and then when I came back to Malaysia, I went to do recruitment, and I still remember when the company was still quite small when I joined it. I think like 15 people or something. I'm employee. I'm number 16 basically. And just before I left, I think it got to like 80, 90 people, something like that. So I was part of that building of the business and the come and the growth. And I really loved it. I realized from that experience, I really love building a business. Like I love building something. And one reason why I decided to leave was I remember having a conversation with a very senior member. I mean, I won't say who, right? Senior member of the business. And I had this idea. It's, hey, we should do this and that. This is a space that we should take. There's a lot of people we can help look for jobs here. And then they sort of responded by saying, I think this is like too high risk. Like if we did this, we risk like the whole business collapsing. And I'm not willing to risk everything that we built today. We have built something, right? I'm not willing to risk everything that we built today. And I just paused, but by the way, legitimate reason. But that moment was when I suddenly realized that, oh, wait a minute. So we have shifted from playing attack to playing defense, if that makes sense. So if you're playing attack, you're always attacking. You don't overthink the risk so much. But I just realized that, oh, we are in maintenance mode now. We are playing defense. We are just trying to protect what we built. We are not trying to build more. And that was the moment I felt, oh, I think that it's entering a phase that is not very exciting to me anymore. And I just wanted to build something.
Right.
Okay. So that's actually one very big reason why I decided to come out and start Ireland. Yeah. And just say like, yeah, like, I mean, it's not, people say it's safe, right? Corporate. Well, even today you see even big companies lay off people. That's number one. You also can get fired in your corporate job. And this is safe from a point of view of, let's say you get a salary and all that. But the other part people don't realize was, if I'm so bored and uninspired of doing this thing, then there's a very high risk that I'll waste my career. There's a different kind of risk, It's not just financial risk. It's like the risk of me wasting time.
Right.
Doing something I don't like doing, So I just thought that the lower risk option is actually to leave this job and start a company. Actually, that is lower risk because I would definitely enjoy that.
Interesting. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. And obviously when you left, I'm sure you've never started a business before. It's like the first time you're doing it. So, I mean, you obviously had to get investors involved and stuff like that, right? So looking back at your earliest investor pitches, what did you actually bring into those rooms before, the new age polished decks and branding existed? Now we have a lot of tools to do all your decks and everything. But what did you bring to them back then?
Yeah, a great question. Obviously, Hirely is a job portal. A lot of people will assume that I would at least need a job portal running before pitching this, right? I just brought a PDF, right, to what the job portal is supposed to look like. And I remember all I did was like, I'm not very technical, although I learned programming at a very young age, but I can't do it anymore. So I got an agency to build this job portal, a very surface level version of this job portal. But the agency hasn't even built it yet. So they just gave me like a mock-up on PDF. And I just walked around meeting different companies. And one of the companies I met was Grab, was called My Taxi at the time. I somehow got a meeting with a senior member of their team. And I said, hey man, like we are building this. Do you want to be here? Like these other job portals suck, right? Like let's do something different. And then they said yes. They paid me a small amount of money. Of course, obviously, we're new, we don't have a database, but they actually paid me, to start it. Just using the PDF and the story.
Wow.
Yeah, just the story. Like people don't ask about database size, about features when they understand why does this portal exist. I focus a lot on the why does this portal exist, and that was how I got so many. I remember like Grab was one of them, Sales.com was one of them, Nafnang was owned by Timothy Kia, who's obviously now he's very popular on social media, but they were one of the first people that used this just by looking at the PDF.
Interesting. Do you think that same methodology applies now? Would that work in current age?
Yeah, sure. Well, in current age, you don't have to because you can use the AI to do the mockup. Right? The AI can code something.
Okay.
But the same philosophy applies. Like you don't have to assume that you need a lot of money, to start something. You just need to share the idea and find the people who believe it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Wow. Okay. I mean, you obviously need some money to start, right? I mean, how did you raise money in the early days when you didn't come from an entrepreneurial background or network?
I raised it a lot from friends and family.
Okay.
I learned this when I was very fortunate to be in Silicon Valley for a few weeks. I was sent there, this Stanford program, and they said, your first round is from, they call it FFF, which is friends, family, and fools, apparently.
Oh, wow.
Basically, I mean, it's a joke, but what they mean is that only people who will blindly believe in you because at such an early stage, your risk is so high.
Yeah. You have nothing yet to prove.
Nothing yet to the probability that you fail is so high. Only people who just believe in you would give it, And, I remember I did like forecasts, this and that. But we all know the forecast is like
Yeah.
made up from thin air, right?
Yeah.
So, I had a friend. I'm going to tell a story like why they invested in me. Let me put it this way. So I had a friend, I said, hey, I'm raising money, the minimum amount, X amount, etc. And then he came to see me. And then I said, I want to invest. And then I said, here's your check for $5,000. And then I said, oh, okay. But I said, I don't have any paperwork yet. I said, can you keep your check first? I can't keep your money. I don't want the money. Let me draw up like some shareholders agreement and stuff like that. Then you can sign and then you can give me the money. And they said, no, it's fine. You can just take it. And I said, huh? I said, why? Like, aren't you afraid that I'll just take your money and run? And then he said something that was very memorable to me. He said that, oh, Derek, your reputation is worth more than 5,000 ringgit. Yeah. So that was when I realized that, they invest, and I didn't know him super well at the time. I kind of knew him, but that's when I realized that actually you're just running on your reputation. Now, what people believe who you are and all that. And actually that piece of paper is also worthless because if your reputation is very bad, even if you have some kind of agreement, it's no use, right? Like, you can still cheat and all that.
Yeah.
So that's what I learned about, I guess, building something when you don't have a track record. You just need a reputation of being, I'm not sure what my reputation was at the time. My best guess was
Trustworthy,
maybe, very hungry, ambitious.
Right.
I think I came across as someone that just loves working. Yeah. Because every time people talk to me, even after work, I'm always talking to them about work. Yeah. Maybe that's partially why people stop having dinner with me. That's the likeliest reason.
You're not confirm nor deny.
Yeah. Likeliest reason I slowly got disinvited.
Okay. Obviously there's no clear playbook of like how to be an entrepreneur, how to operate as an entrepreneur, right? Like, what's the fastest way for someone to learn how to get into entrepreneurship?
I can tell you how I learned it when I went to Stanford. So I was there for a week. I was there. I was in a class. And they brought in so many some of the best world-class entrepreneurs, some of the best world-class lecturers on entrepreneurship. Even Mark Chang, who was the founder of JobStreet, was sitting right beside me on the lab.
Oh, wow.
Whole week, by the way, let's talk about meant to be. But anyway, he's right there. And in every class, because I know nothing, and there are a lot of really experienced entrepreneurs there. In every class, I made sure I asked the lecturer or this entrepreneur, this American entrepreneur, a question. In every class. So you can imagine, right, as someone who has zero entrepreneurship experience, can you guess the quality of my question? How good is it? Sucks.
Well, were they nice enough to answer you?
Yes, they were always answer. So, but the quality of my question was so bad. Like, you can see that this guy is a novice, is a beginner, and I still remembered it was a 5-day course. By day 3, I still remember by day 3, when they asked any question, obviously I put up my hand, I asked the question. And as soon as I asked the question, I can hear the room go, like people were cringing. They were cringing like, can you shut up, Derek? And you're making all the Malaysian entrepreneurs look really dumb here. Right. Because, but they didn't ask the question though. Does that make sense? But they didn't ask the question. And for me in my mind, I wanted to make sure that every single world-class person I meet is going to give me an answer directly to what I'm doing. Give me so many. So I always remember that the fastest way to learn is to just ask a lot of stupid questions. Because if you ask the stupid question, you are only stupid once. If you don't ask the stupid question, you're stupid forever.
Right.
So I just ask it and I look stupid once. When in Stanford, I look stupid many, many times, but for different reasons, because I have so many different questions. But it's so amazing. I remember I met the author of this book called Crossing the Chasm. I have a copy of the book. He's very famous. This book is one of the go-to books for many Silicon Valley startup people. And the author was right there. And I actually got to ask him a question. I said, like, this is my concept of portal. How do I scale this? You know? And he actually gave me, he said, it sounds like your job portal is very cool. It's a very cool kind of concept. The main challenge you have to figure out is how do you scale cool? Because cool doesn't scale very well because the mass market is not looking for cool, you know. But that was a direct insight I got from the author of the, you know, with clean expert scaling a business. As an example, like if I wasn't afraid to ask that stupid questions, I've never heard directly from him.
So you're a believer of there are no stupid questions. Or are there stupid questions?
Oh.
You know, it's an ongoing debate, right? Like whether or not there is such a thing as stupid questions. And people are scared to ask questions because they don't want to sound like they're dumb.
Yeah, I think there are no stupid questions, but there are questions that maybe you know, you might fear you look stupid, lah, right? Sure. Yeah, I understand that. But question is a question. You know, I can ask if I met some billionaire person today, and I ask him or her for investment, they might ask me a question that I consider stupid for a job portal.
Because they may not understand.
Yes. Maybe they you know made a business running a big F&B chain or something like that, and now they're interested in a digital company. They have no idea how AI works, so they might ask me a question. But you see, no one will consider them stupid because they've got credibility, right? They built a very successful business. So you would just think that because he's, you know, him or her, you've never been in this world before. So of course that's the question they ask. But it's the same. You've not been in that other world before. So it sounds stupid now, but you just need to be very confident.
Yeah.
Well, right. You just ask it, and then after you ask it, then you know it.
Is then confidence the answer? Like, what would you say to people who have built a very comfortable corporate career and they're like, oh, like they're so afraid of starting from zero all over again? And it seems like you have the confidence to do it. Like, is that the answer?
Do I have the confidence to do it?
Or what would you say to the people who are, you know, scared of leaving their corporate comfortable careers?
When I first obviously I did my ACCA. So if you're in accounting, you need to do some professional certification like ACCA or ACA, ICAW, whatever it is. I did mine, and when I came back to Malaysia, most people thought that because I work in like Ernst & Young in UK, right? So it's like, hey, you know, it's so rare to have someone from your background. You can be CFO one day. But you should be. You should try to be a CFO.
Path.
Yes. Like it's so hard to get this background. You should try to be a CFO one day. And then my first job back in Malaysia is to do sales and recruitment. It's just so odd and mind blowing to a lot of people. But I remember when I left London, and I lived there for about 10 years. So you imagine all the stuff I have, right, accumulated over 10 years. But when I moved back, all I got was this small box. I got this mover to give me a small box. And I just told myself, there are different sizes. I actually picked the smallest box.
Okay.
Yeah, I picked the smallest, and I told myself, I'm just going to keep the stuff that I really, really need, and I'm going to throw away everything else. So I actually threw away a lot of my favorite stuff. I just left it in my apartment in London, because I told myself, when I go back to Malaysia, I am not Derek from London anymore. I'm Derek living in Malaysia. Because I've seen so many people come home from abroad and they miss that life so much, you know, like they can't let go. You know, in Australia I used to be like this. In UK used to be like this. In America used to be like, but you're not there anymore. You're in Malay, right? So, I think sometimes when you are looking forward to the future, like you build whatever experience you build in corporate world, it doesn't matter. You should always, that's just the past. You shouldn't let the past affect how you make a future decision. So, the way, I suppose, just thinking about letting go. I think, you know, letting go of what you do is very important if you want to have a very good future. Some people let their past achievement become a liability.
Right.
Does it make sense? Because they feel like, I don't want to waste. I spent so much. I spent so much time getting this. Why I now start from zero? Just like how I let go of my accounting background. Like, that's so dumb. The amount of money I spend, if to pass exams, it was so hard to pass the exam. And now I'm not ACC anymore, by the way, because I even stopped paying the membership. Like, I don't need this, you know, like, so I stopped. So I think letting go of the past is very important.
But I don't think everyone has that courage, right? So, what's a very practical advice that you could give someone who I mean, like you say, lah, I mean, people hang on, but it's so easy to say, just like go lah. But what's an actual practical advice you could give someone who's actually scared? Like if I fail at this new thing that I want to go for, then I have no fallback. There's no safety for me, right? And maybe it's your personality. That's why you can do it. But some people just naturally don't have that. Then what would you say to such people?
I would say to them, imagine 20 years from now or 30 years from now, you're doing the exact thing you're doing right now. Imagine the same job, you're sitting beside the same colleagues, your pay is the same, the company is the same, everything's the same. 30 years from now, you're doing the exact same thing. Would you feel that you lived a good life? Would you be happy with this life? Almost everyone I meet will say, no, that sounds like a nightmare. That's a terrible life. Yeah, but that's when you see 30 years ahead. So why are you so afraid of letting go now? It doesn't matter. This is not what you want tomorrow. Right? Tomorrow you want something else. So I think human nature, obviously everyone likes safety, but they almost always regret it when you go further down the line.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I mean, like you see, a lot of people don't end up doing what they studied, for example, right? So it's quite common, I think. But I think, it's that fear that people just need to really get over. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think like whatever you build again doesn't matter. I don't know whether it's partially because when I was very young, because my dad used to work for the government and he was sent like to different places across Malaysia. I've been a bit of a nomad. I moved.
Right, you moved a lot.
Yeah, a lot. I was Ipoh, then I went to KL, went to Johor, came back to KL, then I went to London.
So you're used to change. Maybe that's the
Maybe
thing that
I've
you're
never,
used to change.
I've never been in a place long enough where I can set my roots.
Right. Right.
And every time I change, I feel like I'm starting over, and I have to earn my place in society again. I'm so used to it. Like when I go to Johor, I no friends anymore. I have to earn my place in Johor. Then I go to London, I have to earn my place.
Yeah.
So maybe that's where this trait comes from. But the principle is the same, lah. I think, the past can become a liability. Anything that you may feel is an asset right now, the thing you build, but it may actually be the thing that's holding you back. So if you want a very good future, it's actually very important to let go of the past. Yeah.
Okay. Good advice. Don't know if I'll take it, but
don't. It's alright. You can stay here. If you stay here 20 years from now doing the same job, I will be very happy. Yeah. Not you, but me, lah. I'll be happy.
Right. So I also want to ask you, right? I know you studied in the UK and everything. Obviously, you're an entrepreneur. I think it requires like different skill sets, right? So do you think it's more important to be book smart or street smart?
Ooh, book smart or street smart?
Or both.
Both.
Both is a cop-out answer. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, the real answer is both, but but the real answer, I mean, to start a business especially, it's really tough. You need to be good at everything. But I want to clarify what book smart necessarily means. So a lot of people think book smart means like they do well in the exams. That's one measure of how do you know you're book smart. You get A for exam. That's how you know, right? If someone is always getting C on D and they tell you I'm very book smart, you're like, come on, right? So the measure of book smart is your exam score. But what I'm trying to say, just because your exam score is not good doesn't mean you're not book smart. You're not academic. It's just that maybe you're not interested. I mean, I can even, a lot of people, I don't realize, I don't tell this story a lot, but I actually almost got dismissed from university because I'm very lazy. I don't like studying. I really, really hate studying. Right? So I barely got through my SPM, and I remember there's this class in university that was finance, and I did not attend the lecture like 4 times in a row because I was very busy. I think I was playing Diablo at the time.
Wow.
Right? I was so into it. I was like, I I can't remember whether I got a call or a letter or something like that, but basically it just says like, look, you are dismissed from class. And you no longer need to come. But if I do not have this class, I fail my degree.
Right.
So I was like, oh my God, I'm so scared. And I remember I went up to, this was in London. I was still new to London and so I'm dealing like with the British people. So I needed to find a way to talk to the lecturer. I need to figure out when the lecturer is in the office. And then when the point lecturer's office, I just stood there and I almost begged her to say, can you please let me back into the class? And I can't remember what excuse I gave, but I said, look, I know I didn't turn up, but I will turn up from now on. And luckily for me, she said she'd think about it, and then they came back and said, sure, you can come back to class. I never missed any class of that. But I got first class for that paper. Yeah. So in fact, because I got first class for this particular paper, which I almost got dismissed, I actually got first class for my degree.
Wow.
Because of this particular paper. It was one of the toughest subjects. But the point I'm trying to make is, had you let me do my natural thing, I probably would have gotten, the UK degree, like second or like a C or D level. But I can learn it one.
Right. You can if you wanted to.
Yes, I can learn it. I'm capable. I learned from this that I'm capable enough to understand complex like academic things if I wanted to. I just don't have the interest.
Right.
And that it may be the same for many people out there. There are many people out there who may not score well in the exams, who may think that they're not very book smart. They're just street smart. Let's say they're good. No, actually, they may be wrong. It's just that they've not found a topic that they really put their head in and try to study. If they found something they love or that the discipline to it, they can learn it. So the answer is you need both, but there are many people who are actually book smart that think they are not.
Right. Oh, that's an interesting perspective. I don't think I've heard that before.
Yeah, I am a quite interesting person. Yeah.
Okay. Now I want to talk about, I guess, growth in Highly. So obviously growth sounds very exciting from the outside, right? But obviously scaling a company creates a lot of like internal problems and stuff like that. I'm sure you know. So I just want to find out, like during Highly's fastest growth period, what was the first thing internally that you saw that started to break?
Ooh, yeah. Well, culture broke super fast. And
How fast?
Oh, so fast. And the reason is because actually culture is just behavior.
Right.
Like how do the people in the company behave? And when the company is very small, the whole company usually models, let's say me as a founder. Like usually organizations mirror the personality of the founder, like the strength and also the dysfunction, if you like, of the founder. So that sets the culture. So as the company grew, we have more and more people. So we have more and more people. Sometimes, if you're not very careful, it's no longer so easy for everyone to behave in the same way because you have different personalities now, right, in the company, and the culture breaks. The culture breaks very fast. And Highly is a company that's very culture driven, and so we are not very rule driven company.
Right.
Like I don't like a lot of rules and policies. I always believe that you hire very smart people. You give very high context and they will know what to do. You don't need to create so many rules. But this system only works if the culture is very strong.
Yeah.
It doesn't work when the culture is very weak. So as we were growing, during the growing phase, the culture broke so fast that even when we invested a lot of money in growth, I think a lot of it, we didn't get what we wanted, right? Yeah, because people are not behaving in the way that they were supposed to behave.
And obviously when you grew and headcount grew, you can't be the person that's diving into everything, right? Obviously you had to add some layers, obviously some managers, some senior management. Did you feel, I know you mentioned this earlier as well, but did you feel like your founder-led culture was diluted?
Yeah, it was. Now, as you can see, we are a little bit leaner now. So I'm very involved in sales, marketing, product, everything, right? Tech, which was also the case in the early days. So we're very founder-led. Then when we scaled, we brought in a lot of like management level people, senior management level people. The reason we brought them in was also because the team at the time, I felt, was very, they're very hungry, they're very ambitious, but they were also inexperienced, just like me. Like I'm also inexperienced, I'm learning. And in my mind, I thought if I bring an experienced specialist, into the company, they would tell us what the next phase would look like. They're going to teach me, and they're going to manage and guide the team to achieve this goal. That was my ideal situation. What I obviously did not realize by doing, and then by the way, in order to do this, I also felt that I need to keep a distance from the people on the ground, because they're so used to working directly with me that if this manager tries to make changes, it's going to be so hard for them, him or her, if the team keeps talking to me, because they're going to try to persuade me not
Basically, go
past them lah. Then you're sort of like, then you don't give them any power or influence over the team, right? Then how are they going to do their job?
Right.
So I purposely stepped away and I said, okay, this is your team now, and you lead them. But that created many obvious problems, right? So the first one was that by creating this gap, actually on the ground there were a lot of issues, but because I deliberately created a barrier, people found it very difficult to come talk directly to me. And everything had to go through this middle layer management. And the problem with middle layer management, especially, I find, it depends, I think, you've seen through this phase, some people are still very hands-on, they still do their job very well. But there are people that are very focused on upward management.
Basically managing you.
Yes. Upward management basically means that actually they're not tuned to fixing problems or improving the business. They're just tuned to managing the message upwards, so that everything looks perfect. And I still remember I have so many because now I don't talk directly to the team. I just talk to the management layer. In our meetings, I ask what's happening here, what's happening there. Everything is so amazing, man.
Right.
Every time, this is good, this is that, this is good, this is that. They have one question, and because of I'm such a high context person, I let them guide the conversation. I don't guide it. I said, why don't you tell me what you want to talk about? Because I trust you. You are the leader now. And so we never uncovered many issues that needed to be fixed, and they were not necessarily capable also of fixing it themselves, And
But how do you find out if they look the picture perfect to you?
well, we found out later, like number one, like say when performance started declining. So as we keep investing money into certain areas, we find that either there's no improvement to performance or it started declining. That was obviously a huge red flag. And then that's when I started going into the detail. But by then, usually it's already too late, which I learned, and then even people on the ground, a lot of them started leaving. This middle management also did, because at this point, when I figured out, hey, things are not working out, I need to talk to the people on the ground and go into the detail. Something is wrong. I don't know why. I cannot rely on this layer to tell me what's going on. I need to see it myself. So obviously, when I started doing that, then this middle layer of management, they don't like it, right? I mean, they're human beings too. I can understand they don't like, because this guy doesn't trust me now, and it's actually looking into my work. And in some sense, it's true lah. I am looking into your work now. So imagine if you are like a very senior management person, you got this big title. I can imagine their ego might be a bit bruised lah. I no longer want to hear what you're telling me. I would like to solve this directly myself, right? Yeah. So that created a terrible tension, if you like. And it doesn't help the fact that because I removed myself from the ground, people on the ground have a stronger connection to them now.
Right.
It's so odd. I find that really odd. Especially there were people on the ground that were started with me in the early days of the company that seemed to have a better connection to them, even though they were only there for, let's say, 1 year. But they've been with me for like 4 years, 5 years. Like that kind. It also reflects on my failure as a leader. I always think about it the sense where how can a 1 year relationship override this 4 year relationship? And it just shows how little I spent nurturing the relationship. I took it for granted,
right?
If you like, because the team was small. When the team was small in the early days, you don't have to make an extra effort to really
just
get
naturally
close. You're just close and you're just focused on building the business, and you just assume that people, you know me, right? And I don't need to spend time chit chatting with you and all that. But when you bring in this middle layer management and their main skill is stakeholder management, let's say upward management, that's their main skill. Their main skill is not building a business, stakeholder management. They spend a lot of time building relationships. And so I'm never going to beat that lah, you know, because I just want to build a company. I'm so focused on the mission, the goal. I'm not so focused on building emotional connections to the team. And when I tried going to the ground, and when this middle layer management was sort of somewhat revolting, like in a way, not even dealt with it very well, it created a lot of issues. It really created, and it was actually quite painful to kind of turn around. Even the people that I felt I was very close with, there was some kind of mental barrier, because I feel like they don't know they can trust me, or they should listen to what this other person told them.
And obviously the middle management, because they are telling you good stories about the team and stuff like that, they feel like they were protecting them for the past year, right? I guess in a way that sort of built that trust also with them.
Yeah, it's so weird, you know. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Because for some reason, the priority is to protect the team.
Yeah.
Not so much to build a business. And it's not to say I want to hurt the team, but obviously we are here to build a business, right? And but then the team psychologically feels indebted to them. You know, it's so weird. But this person look after me or stuff like that. They created this it's me versus Derek.
Yeah.
You know, there is this kind of for some reason they create this dynamic. It's me versus Derek. When Derek goes into this, it's going to like wreck things or something. But actually, we should all be pointing in the same direction, trying to achieve a goal together, right? We are like if you look at our office, we have a poster now that says like we are a professional sports team. Because I just wanted to remind everyone, we are all here to win games together. You know, we have a mission. That's why you're in this company. You know, and I am part of this mission, so just as much as they are. They are the star players of the mission, but we must all be pointing at the same direction, not pointing at each other. You know? But I felt I definitely went through the phase where it felt a little bit like, it's me versus the management, like that. You know, it's just weird.
Right. So what was the outcome? Sorry, what was the ending? What happened in the end? And how did you solve it?
I think it took a while to solve it. I'm not even sure it's fully solved yet, but the problem sometimes is when people believe things, it's very difficult to unbelieve. Does that make sense? Like you know, let's say you are the first person let's say I'm the first person you meet in the company, and for some reason we have a good conversation, like there's trust, and then you meet another person, you know, and this other person says something opposite. Right. You will naturally obviously trust what I say, because I was like, that's the first thing that got into your mind,
right?
You believe in that, so you're more skeptical of this new idea. So when the people in the company get infiltrated with the wrong mindset, so difficult to change it. So because they really believe this other idea already, and it is really, and I think the way it changed was there was natural attrition over time. People didn't align with the direction of the company anymore. They went to look for their own thing. And there were some really talented people. This was my one big regret there. I felt that we lost a lot of talented people in this phase. But I suppose it's a natural part of the journey of building a company. Yeah. So in the end, they just slowly left and new people came in. And we just had to make sure that when the new people join, we spend more time making sure that they have the correct mindset. Yeah, to kind of turn the culture around. Yeah, I wouldn't say turn the culture, set the culture back to this mission-driven culture.
Which is what you started the company.
Yes, it was always like that. We were here to build something together.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I'm sure it's been a couple of years since that happened, right? So
was that too long of a story? That I spent too much time on this.
It's okay. I think it's the interesting part. So obviously Highly has grown, and I mean you made so many new changes, I guess, in the past year and stuff like that. And obviously you're fighting against big giants, right? So I know Highly just recently introduced the free job postings for retail and F&B roles. So I just wanted to know, like, what inspired that decision? You know, people are all like, make more money, but you're like, hey, free job postings.
Oh,
so
right.
why?
Right. Yeah. Why make it free, right? Especially like retail F&B side. Well, there's I'll share two reasons, and then I'll share a story. So the first reason is because we are supporting Malaysian youth, a lot of youth actually go to retail F&B jobs first, even part-time, before they land their first white-collar job, professional job. I mean, Highly is focused on white-collar professionals. And the other thing is, in the age of AI, there was a lot of talk initially about how entry-level white-collar jobs were going to be less. So we suspected that it might take more time for them to land that first white-collar job. So let's create lots of retail F&B jobs for them to apply to. That was the original reason. But there's another reason why retail F&B is kind of, some sense, close to me. And there's a time where maybe 12 years ago, I think I was traveling with my brother. I remember we were in Istanbul, and my brother loves walking. I do not love walking, but he loves walking. So I remember we were walking from day to night across Istanbul as a city. And by the evening, I was so tired from the walking. And we found this restaurant to stop and eat. So, and as we were eating, it was time for dessert. And the waiter was a Turkish guy, he came over and he showed me a list of stuff. There's this one thing I was just curious about. So I said, oh, what is this? And then he explained it to me, something like, I still remember his words were, oh, it's a bit sweet, it's a bit soft, something. And then, oh, okay. But because I felt like he didn't answer my question.
Right.
So then I said, oh yeah, okay, sweet and soft, but what is it? But what is it? What is it? And then he repeated again. It's sweet, a bit soft. And by the third time, I actually got a bit frustrated. In fact, I actually got a bit rude. I said, yeah, but I said, I know sweet and soft, but what is it? Like, is it cake? Is it ice cream? Like, what is it? Right? And my brother got so upset at me, I still remember. Like, he just snapped at me immediately. It's like, I said, what are you doing? He said, you're in Istanbul. He's obviously Turkish and he's a waiter. Did you expect him to speak English very well? Why are you talking to him like that? It's so rude. So disrespectful. Just because he's a waiter, so you snapped at him. And I felt so embarrassed. Obviously my brother's right? Like, yeah, why? Yeah. Clearly English is not their first language, right? He's attempting to answer my question, even though he didn't answer it very well. But my reaction was, I felt it was very disrespectful anyway. Because I was so embarrassed, I remember this so much. Since then, I'm super extra nice to service staff, even until today. Even not just service staff, sometimes even I get people who make, cold call me or do sales calls. I'm always super nice. I will just okay, even I'm not interested, I'm very sorry. I will be more patient talking to them, because I always felt that sometimes when people are doing this service level roles, it may not seem like a high skill role, but these are still, they still have dignity and respect, and they're still trying their best to do their thing.
And they work really hard, really long hours and stuff like that. I don't think any normal corporate worker would be able to do it.
Yes, it's a really tough job. Yeah. And it could be that they love F&B, or it could be that their circumstances meant in such a way that that was the best job they could take, but it doesn't matter. But there's still people, and just because it's not deemed as a high value role doesn't mean they should be treated with less respect. So I always felt this with service staff, and until today found that service staff. So when the idea came out that we should have more jobs for service staff, I think I partially convinced myself that this was a good idea.
Right.
Because I wanted to be a platform that helps them.
Right. Right. Oh, it seems like Highly is very mission driven. You actually care about, I guess, the people and your users. A lot of startups obviously chase growth at all costs. They'll probably never do things like this, give for free, right? But are there any principles or values that you personally refuse to compromise on, even if it slows growth?
Yeah, I think that might be us. Well, some people might consider it a weakness, in the sense where I'm sometimes too principled in the way I behave. As an example, I still remember there was an ex-employee that left the company and joined this new competitor. And when they joined the new competitor, they kept calling our existing employees to go join them,
right?
Which I found a bit annoying, and in such poor taste. As in, like, sure, I mean, like, nothing's preventing you from doing it, but when I left my previous company, recruitment company, to start this company, I never called, even though I have such a good reputation, I never called them, asked, come and join me, because it is like no class, like, you know, like, it's so poor taste. So not principled, no honor, right? But by doing that, by not having that honor, so and so, well, they did well. In some sense, they grew fast, and also good on them. But I'm not willing to bend to that level, like. But I think you reminds me of a story when I was really young. I think I was maybe 11, 12 years old, maybe 13 lah, let's say lah, 13, 14, young teenager. And I wanted to play badminton with my dad, let's remember. And we realized that all the shuttlecocks that we had were like very old already, so I need to buy a new shuttlecock. So he sent me on a mission to go buy lah, right? And I went to this stationery shop that also sold shuttlecocks. When I got there, my dad gave me, I don't remember the exact amount, I think he gave me like 10 ringgit or something in cash. And I saw this box of shuttlecocks that I gave this uncle who was taking care of this stationery shop. I said, oh, hi, I want to buy this. And then the uncle said something like, oh yeah, 7 ringgit. And I saw the box, but the box says 9 ringgit. So I told uncle, it says 9 ringgit. And then uncle, like, surprised at how dumb I was. Basically because, you know, these are like old family owned business, you know, like they chin chai, they give you discount, you know, like the price tag doesn't matter, right? Yeah. Then I said, but uncle, it's 9 ringgit. And he looked at me, huh? I said, okay, like 8 ringgit lah. That's right. Then I was still confused. I gave him 8 ringgit. 9. Yeah, no, I gave him. I said, okay, I gave him 10 ringgit, you met 2 ringgit. But I was confused. I was thinking, why is this uncle so dumb? Like, I just told him that the thing is supposed to be 9 ringgit. He still charged me 8 ringgit. So I went back and I told my dad this story. And then I said, Dad, I don't know why uncle, he charged me 7. I told him it's 9 and then he charged me 8. And then he laughed, you know, he laughed. He never told me then, as in like, this is like a kedai runcit, you know, like uncle, the price tag is whatever they say it is one. So he laughed and he just said, at least you're honest. That's all he said. At least it's good that you're honest. And that's the only thing that I said. And it's just when I grew up later and I reflected on this story, I was like, oh, yeah, I'm being very silly. Or actually, it could have been 7 ringgit, you know. But because I thought the uncle was making a mistake, I wanted him to pay more. But having integrity and being honest and doing things in a principled way is very important to me lah. It's not just about milking every dollar out. I hope our investors listening to this will not see this as a problem. But the fact that integrity is very high in my list also means that I hope they can trust us to do the right thing. You know.
Okay. I mean, yeah. I was like that too when I was a kid. I couldn't lie.
Oh, is it? Oh.
Yeah. I wrote my mom an apology letter when I answered I answered a test and someone gave me the answer. And I didn't even ask for the answer. Someone just went, ugh, and then told me the answer. And then I actually felt so bad that I couldn't sleep. So I wrote my mom a letter to tell her that I cheated on an exam.
Oh, wow.
And I've always had this, like I still feel the anxiety when I'm not truthful. So I understand you. So okay. I understand where you're getting at.
I hope your friend gave you the right answer. Was it the right?
It was the correct answer.
Okay, lucky you.
But I felt terrible.
You'll be terrible if it was the wrong answer and you cheated.
That's true. Okay. And obviously, I mean, you've worked really hard on Highly and, you know, there's a lot of like hustle I'm sure you've done for the past 10 years. But very few people talk about things like exhaustion and burnout, right? So I just want to ask, do you personally experience burnout? And what does burnout actually look like on you?
That's a great question. I don't know what burnout really looks like. But obviously I do get stressed. The way I figure out if I'm stressed is there's some negative thought that keeps repeating in my mind, like repeated, like you ruminate on it. If for those who haven't heard the word ruminate, it basically means like you're dwelling on it repeatedly. It just keeps playing again. Whatever that moment or that problem that bother you, it just keeps playing again on your mind. Even though you're doing different things, it's just there. So that's usually a bad sign that I'm very stressed. But actually, I mean, most days I do not have this. Actually, 95% of the time, even though there are a lot of issues going on, it doesn't bother me. But when it does, when I am ruminating on something, like when I catch myself doing that, I actually just remind myself that actually you are not that voice in your head. A lot of people don't realize this, like a lot of people believe that you, as in the human you, is your brain, your mind is you, this smart thing at the top, and the rest of you, your body, is a vehicle to carry your mind around.
Right.
A lot of people actually believe that, like this, like your you is up here. Like if you ask them where's the center of you, a lot of people will say, this is me lah, in my brain lah. This conscious focus thing that is speaking, this intelligent, this is me, and the rest is my vehicle. And but what they don't realize is, no, actually that's it's just an alarm. It's not really you. Like it's your conscious focus is like your protection system, like that, your alarm bell. So sometimes when you're faced with something dangerous, this thing just keeps ringing lah.
Right.
It keeps ringing. And if the thing keeps ringing, if you associate yourself as you are here, up here, then you're in trouble.
And you spiral.
You spiral. Then you burn out because you believe this is you, right? And you are stressed because this is you. Actually, I don't think this is me. I always think that, for those who are listening, you can't see, but me is here. I'm more the center, right? I am the whole thing. Derek, the whole thing, right? I'm the center, like maybe near my heart or where you call it, right? But I'm the whole thing. And this thing is just an alarm that's ringing in the space that I'm in. So I am the space. And your mind spiraling is just an alarm that's ringing in the space. And you can look at the alarm and like, okay, thank you, and you can switch it off. No, it really helps when you suddenly understand that it's just an alarm, you can switch it off and you can just ignore it for a while. Like, I'm very busy now. Like, I'll come back to you later. Right. And realizing that you are the space where the alarm rings, you are not the alarm itself. And that's how I deal with a lot of very stressful moments. But I mean, I'm very human now, by the way. I do get stressed when the alarm is ringing. Sometimes I don't realize that I'm stressed. It might take a while for me to kind of snap out of it. Right. But when I step out of it, this is what I tell myself.
It's nice to be able to switch off. No, but actually, I personally can switch off very quickly. I go like, oh, I don't like that thought, and I just.
Oh. Yeah. So you're very lucky. It's a superpower.
I try not to let it affect me.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's good.
But no, of course, I understand where you're coming from. If you don't feel stressed at all, I don't think you're human. But
yes.
Like AI or something.
Yes. I mean, again, even though I'm sharing this as a technique, of course I feel stressed. It takes a moment to kind of realize that, I'm in this loop.
But it's a good technique, I think, for our audience also. If someone can compartmentalize their thoughts and just realize that it's something that you can potentially address separately.
Yes. And one other thing a lot of people don't realize, I learned this from all this from this guy called Alan Watts. But I discovered him quite recently, although he's, I think, from the 60s or something. He's long gone already. But I learned all these ideas from him. But one of the things I think people associate themselves so much with their thoughts is that they don't realize that actually you don't control your thoughts at all.
Some sort of chemical reaction.
Yeah. Just something is like happening there. You're actually not in control. You don't know what you're going to think 1 minute from now.
Right.
It takes just pop up. Like if for example, if I ask someone, think of a movie, think of a name of, can you think of a name of a movie? You know what? I just say it, just throw out.
Oh my goodness. Big Fish.
Yeah. Did you expect that's going to...
No,
right? Like, like you just don't. Like, you just... And why was it Big Fish that came out? Like, so you actually do not control your mind and people don't realize.
Okay, right. Okay, so I mean, obviously after years of pressure, burnout, or whatever you call it, maybe if you could tell me, if you could sit down with your 29-year-old self before leaving your accounting career, what would you tell him?
Great, you're going to have a great adventure. Do it. Yes.
Well,
yes. It's going to be fun. It's going to be very painful. but you're probably going to make more money if you stay in accounting. But it's going to be so much fun.
Right. And looking at young Malaysians entering the workforce today, what important lessons about mental resilience are they not learning in university, you think?
Mental resilience that they're not learning in university. I think the thing about universities is, of course, when you're studying subjects, right? So when you're studying subjects, you're sort of, in a way, trying to say that your next step is this. Let's say you study accounting degree, therefore your next step is accounting. There's almost a sense of certainty, like making...
Be systematic.
Yes, it's systematic, follow process. If I study being an architect, I'm going to be an architect. It gives people a false sense of certainty. You know, I think that's the university system,
Right.
you know. And if I do well in all my papers, I'm going to have a good career. Unfortunately, that is not true. Even if you do well in all your papers, it does not mean you're going to have a good career. It also does not mean you're going to do the job that you studied for.
Right.
So universities are not very well, don't produce people who can roll with the punches so well.
I see.
Like someone that
What kind of module would help you with that? Like rolling with the punches? What do you imagine?
critical thinking
Okay.
would be one important skill that people don't teach. Like critical thinking in the sense where you can look at a new novel idea, that means a problem that you've never seen before, and able to, using first principle. First principle means that if you don't know anything about this, just look at the very ground truth. How would you attempt to solve it? What do you think this issue is? You know, like if universities can train people more on critical thinking, then people have more confidence. It doesn't matter whether you are marketing, salesperson, accounting, you can use the same skill set. Then you can figure out how to do it. Yeah. So the problem with like education system, maybe Asian education systems a little bit more, is that it's training people to memorize answers. I teach you the answer. If you see the question is A, then the answer is B. If you see the question is C, the answer is D. But if you are trained this way, then when you see a question that is, let's say, a T, you know, then you have no idea what to do with it. You're just completely lost, and therefore people feel very scared. They don't know how to deal with uncertainty. But if you understand critical thinking and problem solving very well, I figure it out.
Right.
You know, and I have enough common sense to figure it out. And they don't teach that in university.
But I do think that a lot of young entrepreneurs, they probably have this skill, which is why they started into entrepreneurship, right? They starting building a business because they're trying to solve a problem most of the time, right? So, I mean, speaking about young founders, right? Like, what do you think younger founders misunderstand most about success and entrepreneurship?
Well, when I speak to a young entrepreneur, you know, or people who want to be entrepreneurs, I think the big misconception is everyone thinks they're going to drive BMWs and, you know, like be super rich and be on the cover of Tatler, you know, and be idolized, you know, lots of like fans, whatever it is, right? But none of that is true for most people. Let me put it this way: you might get it at the end of the rainbow,
Okay.
but getting to the end of the rainbow is
It's journey, it's a long journey.
a long journey. Yes, it sucks. The journey sucks. As in, all your friends who decided to stay in a corporate job are going to be so much all well off than you, financially, mentally. You know, like so much. You're going to like be in the. Sorry, but it's going to be so bad for so long. In fact, I remember when I think year 3 when I started Hiredly, I was having dinner. I was going to have dinner with my wife, I remember. And we found this mama that, you know, we wanted to eat in. And we sat down. Of course, it's a mama. So we thought, I need cash. You know, I need cash. They don't take card or something. I can't remember why, but I needed cash. I didn't have cash. So I told her, okay, you wait here. I'm going to the ATM machine to get some cash, okay? I went and I put my card in. And then I realized that in my bank account, I had 7 ringgit. That's all the money I had, all the cash, 7 ringgit. I was like, oh my God, I don't even have money to pay for dinner in the mama. So I actually went back to my wife and I said, sorry, I only have 7 ringgit. Can I use your card? Can I get cash with your card? So my bank has no money. And obviously he gave it to me. But the point was that At this time, by the way, when I was getting 7 ringgit, there were so many articles about me as an entrepreneur, because in Malaysia there were not that many startup founders, entrepreneurs at the time. And if you read those articles, you would think that wow, this guy is so amazing. He must be having an amazing time. But no, I can't even pay for dinner, mama. So I was so financially poor at the time. And even until today, I believe I make less money than I would have if I stayed in my corporate job. I'm sure this is true, yes, even until today. So I think the idea of you're going to be very rich, you're going to be very famous, you're going to drive nice cars is the biggest misconception of being an entrepreneur. Most likely you're going to do the exact opposite. So if you want to have a lot of money, you want to drive a nice car, maybe you climb corporate ladder might be better. I think you only become an entrepreneur if you feel like I don't want to do a corporate job.
Right.
I can't work like this.
I was about to ask you, would you still encourage someone to be an entrepreneur? Because you are an entrepreneur yourself, but you do it out of passion, right? You actually truly love the work that you do. So would you still encourage young people to do a business if they wanted to?
Only if they really wanted.
Only if they really want.
Yes. But they want to do it because there's this thing that they want to build.
Right.
Not so much because they think they'll be on the cover of a magazine. Yeah, that's very.
Right.
I'm not saying that. I'm very sure there are people out there who say, I want to be rich.
Yeah. And it's still possible.
And they became very rich as well, I'm sure. All I'm saying is that, but this is like a probability game, Most likely you're not. And if you're not doing something that you actually love, it's such a painful life.
Yeah. Okay. So, Derek, I guess coming to the end of the session, if the business disappeared tomorrow, what personal legacy would you want Derek to leave behind beyond the Highly name?
Oh, a personal legacy. I guess I'll end with this story. So when I was living in London, there was this, I always go to this same hairstylist, right? He's this Japanese guy, his name is Yasu. And I remembered, I had a friend one day, his hair looks really nice. And I said, hey, where you get this haircut? I said, hey, I go to this stylist. You should ask for this guy called Yasu. So, okay, I went. And then I went there, he cut my hair. He didn't speak a lot of English. I remember even though this was London, he speaks some English. He cut my hair, came out, it looked like this Japanese style. But for some reason, I liked it. Oh, this is nice. I like this style. And since then, I went to him every month for a haircut. Every month for 5 years.
Wow.
Every month for 5 years, I go, only him, no one else would touch my hair except this guy for 5 years. And the entire 5 years, actually, we barely spoke a word to each other. In the entire 5 years. I remember there were 2 conversations we had, but one was more memorable. There was once where I lost my MP3 player in the subway. In London, it's called the tubular, right? Someone pickpocketed my MP3 player. I only discovered it when I walked into the place, the hairstylist place. And in that moment, I just kind of I just lost my MP3 player. I was a bit more animated. I was talking. This was the first time we sort of exchanged a few words properly. And that was it for 5 years. Until the last day, as I was going back to Malaysia, as I know I'm packing up already, I'm going back. And this is going to be the last time this guy is going to cut my hair. Yeah. And he actually doesn't know, by the way. Because I don't talk to him, right? He doesn't know. So as he was cutting my hair, I told him, hey, Yasu, by the way, today I'm going back to Malaysia after this. This is the last time I'm going to cut my hair. And suddenly I saw his face just change. He looked so sad. And actually I still remember his eyes looked very teary. And he asked me, why are you going back? And I can't remember what I told him. I've been here a long time, I'm going back. And that was the first time we had a proper conversation. And then he was telling me I've also been thinking about going back to Japan, for a while. And I think we spoke for 10 minutes.
Right.
The first after 5 years, 10 minutes. And as I was leaving, I think he gave me some souvenir or something. And he gave me such a huge hug. It was and then it's such a huge hug. And I hug and right, I'll see you around and, stay in touch. And then and I think he called me on Facebook. We were still using Facebook at the time. And then we connected, which I lost, by the way, because my account, something happened to it. But anyway, And then I left. And then as I was leaving the place, right, I was like, oh my God, like, I've been sitting here for some reason. I think I left some memory, a positive memory with this guy, which I never, I mean, he cut my hair, but I barely spoke to him. And on the day that I'm leaving, he felt sad. You know, like almost like he miss me like that, you know. And that's the same way I think about legacy. Like I said, like I don't feel like I need to know what I'm doing, you know, or how exactly I'm helping people. But on the day that I'm not here one day, if people remember me, and the way they remember is they feel a little bit sad, not too sad, you know, like it was better to have me around. You know, that for me, that would be a good enough legacy. I'll be happy with it.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you for sharing. I think that's it for today.
Yes, thanks. I see also, right? See, it turned out okay. Yeah. Before we started recording, I was like, oh no, this is so weird. I guess I can talk a lot of nonsense.
Yeah.
All right, awesome.
Okay.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
And thank you for this unique episode.
Yes.
All right.
Bye.
Bye. All right. Thanks for hanging out with us and getting to the end of the episode. If you like this, follow us or hit the subscribe button. It will help us bring on more amazing guests and makes the whole show better for you. So thanks again and see you in the next one.